Good morning. Welcome to Coffee and Cookies. My name's Lindsay, and today's show is sponsored by Dead Religion, which just went live, and lots of things to talk about. So we're going to talk about that a little tiny bit, but today is the second day of our relationship week. We're so excited to have an awesome couple with us. Before we get into who that is, let's talk about Nick, because Nick likes to talk about Nick.
Everyone likes to talk about Nick. It's not just me that likes to talk about me. You want to know what here we go, right? You know that you're in the right place when you enjoy talking about you and you enjoy talking about others and you enjoy elevating others. And we're going to elevate this couple today.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
So excited.
Yes, we are. And here's one of the best parts, right? The website's live. The YouTube channel's already growing. And it hasn't even been a full 24 hours yet. So we'll be making sure that we drop the links into the comments. You guys can go like, follow, watch his videos, comment on his videos, and most of all, be ready to be challenged a little bit. Mm-hmm. So, Lindsay, you want to introduce our guest?
Yes. So the founder of Dead Religion and his better half. Welcome to the show, David and Crystal.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, what's up? We're happy to be here. Always grateful for the opportunity to have conversations with the great Nick the Great and Lindsay the Awesome.
That's right.
I will take that.
I'll take that too. I'm awesome.
All right. So you guys have put together some different topics that you guys want to talk about, right?
Yep.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna get right into that. So I'm gonna do a little more split screen action. Mm-hmm. And just FYI, I have no idea what I'm doing. The cameras did not load up the way they normally did. So if you're watching, you're like, why does Nick keep changing the camera angles? There's a reason. I'm still figuring this out. Okay, so give me a little grace on this. So let's talk about y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I know this is a big thing to talk about y'all because y'all get talked about all the time, right?
Well, I don't know if we get talked about all the time, but I know that we don't. It's not our favorite thing to do is to actually talk about us. So
why not? I mean, and here's where I'm going with this. You guys have an amazing story. You guys have become leaders within our church, right? On both sides. I believe I saw you in kids working on Sunday, right?
Absolutely, I love it.
So what kids do you work with?
So I work with the VIP check-in for the children. It's for the newbies that come in. We welcome them with love and just assure them that it's going to be an amazing place for the kids to be.
Yeah, but you're specifically with in the
infants and
infant
the nursery,
section.
Yes.
So
you get
awesome.
like the super tinies, super tinies.
She gets the babies when they're still cute.
You need extra blessing.
Oh, they're still cute.
Wow.
They get a little older and the cuteness is debatable.
And that's where you work, right?
That's where I work.
Work, serve.
Yes. When we say work, we're definitely talking about serving at Elevate. We don't work at Elevate. we are, man. So let's talk about home dynamics.
Yeah. It's we have an interesting. Well, I know. When we say home dynamics, we're talking about, me and Crystal aren't two working parents. Right? Mm-hmm. I know that certain home dynamics have, both parents that are working and, either kids go to daycare or something like that. For us, Crystal's a stay-at-home mom. Mm-hmm. And I know that for stay-at-home moms, that could be a little touchy in terms of the subjects because, I know as a working dad, I'm not going to the office anymore and, getting my briefcase and putting my suit on, right? Like I'm
impressed you have those. You have a briefcase and suit?
I threw it all away. I threw it all away. Because I work from home now, right? So we have an interesting home dynamic where there's a working dad who is at home and then you have a stay-at-home mom who's at home. So
right.
Yeah, it's a little different in 2022. So but yeah.
So how, Crystal, how is that? Stay-at-home mom.
It's very interesting. It's been about over a year since I've been home. I mean, I was working before, but our schedules just continuously collided and it did not work. But being that now I am home, it's actually a blessing. Sometimes it can be overwhelming, but overall, it's a blessing. There are times when, the school may call, like, hey, Janai is sick. And so I just I don't know. It's just amazing to be able to get up and leave, because I know that most parents, most working moms aren't able to have that luxury to be able to like up and leave whenever.
Yeah.
I also volunteer at their school. So just to be able to get connected with their teachers and just to see what's going on, man, it's a blessing for sure.
That is a blessing. You're blessing the teachers so much by doing that, just from a teacher perspective. That's so awesome.
But so my wife is a stay-at-home mom as well. Okay. And it's funny because we laugh about, like, Amber works harder than I do.
Yes.
I mean, granted, she gets to sleep in more than I do in the morning, but when it comes to the after the kids go to bed,
She also stays up later than
she
you
does.
do.
She absolutely does. You know, and you know, so we were at Friday night. We were at
The dance. Relationship night.
Relationship night, right? With y'all. And it's an interesting dynamic because I get to do this. I get to be around other adults. I get to interact with other adults. But Amber really doesn't get to do that.
She's like, what is that like?
Right?
How do I talk to big humans? I don't know. Do you have to go potty? No.
So going to that dance, going to relationship night was very important because, and you always see, I'm getting the big head nod over there,
Oh, yes.
because you now get to get dressed up and interact with other adults.
Yeah.
Which, on that note, did y'all have fun?
I know I had fun.
Yeah, absolutely. We got to dance, got to eat together, have conversation, be with our family of choice. It was so fun and so much needed.
It was. You know, here's the interesting thing about Crystal is that when I met Crystal, she was actually a working woman and she worked full time. And so I know that making that adjustment to being a stay-at-home mom was not her first choice. It was not preferred for her. But like you alluded to, Nick, it is a blessing for her, obviously, to be able to be around the kids and to be able to be involved and to, like, no one's raising our kids or influencing our kids, but their mother is. But it's a blessing for me because I get to do what I get to do. I would not be able to do any of it if it wasn't for her. And so, you know, stay-at-home moms, you guys bring a lot of value to our lives, not just your kids' lives, but everything around you is impacted whenever you decide to stay home. And so I'm just grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah, you can brush your shoulders. It's okay.
No, I think I think what you're talking about is extremely important, right? And let's be inclusive here. Whether you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
You having that influence over your kids is very important. Now, Lindsay works, Dustin works, but they have a very impactful. Are we allowed to?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I don't know. What are you? I don't know where you're heading with this. You got to finish
the
your
lady,
statement. My mother-in-law lives with me.
So you have your mother-in-law that helps with the influence, and then who else? You drop them off. You drop Lexi off at her house.
Oh, we have a Miss Jamie.
Miss Jamie. Yeah, thank you. I couldn't remember her name. So Miss Jamie, but Miss Jamie isn't just like a normal babysitter, or she's not a daycare.
She's so amazing.
I mean, like,
and if she was taking kids, I would let you know and put her in the comments, but she's not. So she's full. Don't ask.
Dang it.
But
Dang it.
What you're talking about here is we've all made decisions to be impactful in our kids' lives, which is rare today. Yeah. A lot of parents, and I understand with the working dynamic, and I'm not getting down on any parents, but there's something to be said about letting an institution having those first couple years versus you or someone you know, like, and trust having those first couple years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
To me, it's a lot of pressure. Not to like put a downside to this, but like it's a lot of pressure because there's no one else to mess up your kids but me.
Yeah, and you know what? But that's a good point because if you're a stay-at-home parent, let me make that. I don't want to just stay as a.
There we go. I like it.
Moms and dads, right? If you are a stay-at-home parent, it's easy to believe that you're not making as big of an impact in the day-to-day or even in the household from a financial perspective. But the impact that you make, money cannot buy. And you keep the household running. Where I get to clock out every day, you don't. And that's a 24-hour 7 days a week type of job, and typically it's very thankless. You don't get certificates and rewards and President's Club and
Why
all that
not?
other stuff.
Why not? We need to make those.
We should. I agree. One of the points that I made last week in our marriage class was it should not be a thankless job, right? Like if you're a stay-at-home parent, the other parent should maybe not every day, but should at least be intentional about saying thank you and making that person feel valued, and even giving them a break so that they can feel like a woman or a man and not just somebody who's obligated to have to stay at home. You don't want your house to feel like a prison.
Ooh, now
Right.
here, let's.
So I would argue that the stay-at-home parent does get to clock out when they go on date nights.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why they're so important, right? But so my household would not run without my wife.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't happen. The laundry wouldn't get done. The house would not be as clean. The kids would not be as like there. In my daughter's school, there is a certain little event going on every single day this week, and there was a little event going on every day last week. None of that would get done if it was up to me. Yeah.
Yeah, so today at school is dress to impress. My son went in sweats.
As he should. And he wasn't the only kid. We saw other kids showing up in sweats. But there's a I was talking to Amber last night, and I was like, thank you. Like, I see it every day that I walk into my closet and there's clean clothes. That's because Amber made that happen, right? Every day that there's food in the pantry, that's because Amber made that happen. Every day that I get to come home and my kids are in good moods, or maybe dad needs to come home and put hey, we're gonna have a little discipline session, right? But I get to come home to that. Every day I walk through that door, I get hugs by my daughters because my wife has taught my kids when daddy shows up back at home, you give him hugs. And I thank my wife for that. Probably not as much as I need to.
Go ahead, right now.
Right?
Right now.
Thank you. She got lots of things. But here we go, right? As a parent, as a stay-at-home parent, it's very easy to lose sight of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay? And this was a conversation that we've had. Do not think it's a thankless job. It's more important than you could ever imagine. Because not only are you investing into the kids, but you're investing into that household.
You set the atmosphere.
Oh, yes.
You create the atmosphere.
Ooh.
That's huge. Because when you work, you come into whatever's been created. Now, y'all, David doesn't get to leave, so he helps create that as well. But
That's true.
yeah, like my husband and I, we both work. So we're coming into whatever atmosphere has been created by who's been in the house at that time.
Right. And
It's huge.
And when you come home, make sure you're not the disruption.
Yeah, don't be the storm.
Well,
Right?
Sometimes
don't be
you
the
need a little
Tasmanian
bit
devil.
of rain to make things grow. Just
That's true.
You
That
know,
is true.
But
Yeah.
still, right? Like if you had a stressful day at work, take 5 minutes in your car, take that deep breath. Don't bring that into the household. Your spouse may have been doing everything. I mean, I've walked in and I can see when Amber's on her last nerve, right? Like she's been. Did you, Crystal? Your facial expressions are awesome.
I do feel like that's the challenging part about being a stay-at-home parent is when you're not feeling it. Sometimes you have those mornings where it's already, very bumpy. I can't step out of my office and go grab a coffee at Starbucks because I have to take them with me.
Right.
And that's where we become hard on ourselves. Like, oh my gosh, I'm not letting my light shine right now.
yeah.
And they can see that clearly. So
But I think that's awesome that they can see that, especially if you're modeling, okay, I know mom's not letting my light shine right now. I'm going to reset and I'm going to teach you how to reset. So we're all going to take a deep breath and we're going to blow whatever it is out of our bodies. And we're going to inhale God's love and talking that through. Because kids don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
And it's so important to just verbalize everything.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, that's why she's being weird. No.
So Crystal, in your household, what did you have any like go-to cartoons?
for the kids,
Yes.
So as of right now, we've tried to change it, but with our smallest one, it's Coco Melon still.
Oh yes.
Yeah, and
Good for them, bad for parents.
yeah,
Yeah.
I love Coco Melon.
Well, that says a lot about you, Nick.
I know. You want to know what? Out of all the cartoons out there, I'd rather than watch Coco Melon than some of the other stuff.
I tell you what, that's very true. He toe dips a little bit into like Trash Truck, into like,
oh yeah, for sure.
like some other things, but
Toe dips.
it's a toe dip only at best. His go-to is Coco Melon for sure.
So Coco Melon. Are there any others?
Well, with the girls, it's YouTube watching kids play with toys or, doing their arts and crafts. And then mommy, I watch other moms organize. So it's like the same for me.
Yeah.
So let's see. There's Bluey in my household, and then there's have y'all watched Bluey?
No.
I don't think
It
I've
is
heard
And
so
I've been
funny.
hearing that.
So funny.
I have.
Y'all, go home and watch it because
So first
It's
off,
greatness.
do you guys have Disney Plus?
Yes.
Yes.
We have
Then,
all
okay.
streaming services
Then
basically.
watch Bluey. Watch Bluey, and here we go. You ready for this? You're going to learn more about parenting watching these episodes than you think you will.
Okay.
Like Bluey has changed my household.
Bluey's made you newy.
we need to trademark that catchphrase.
right. So there's Bluey, and then there's the other one, and it's the little girl. She has blue hair, and she does a big, deep breath.
What?
It's another cartoon that my
said-
girls watch.
Blue hair?
Yeah, she has blue hair.
I'm not sure
Right?
about that one.
It's a Netflix special.
I don't know.
Oh, Amber! If Amber's in the comments, she'll put it in
She
there.
is in their comments. We'll see.
Right?
Waiting.
Yes.
Waiting.
It's okay.
Amber.
Well,
Bueller.
No pressure, Amber.
we'll come back to it. Okay, so then here we go. Right? Let's stay in this mom stay at home, dad stay at home. So what time do your kids go to bed?
True.
True. That's the cartoon.
Yeah.
Oh,
Thanks,
I love
Amber.
True.
I knew my wife would know.
Yeah, we try to get them down around 8:30 every night.
Yeah.
Wow, that's late.
It is, and let me tell you something. If it goes 5 minutes over, they have the worst time getting up in the next morning.
yes.
Like it's 8:30 is like our magic hour. That's the magic time.
Wow, ours are like
So what
7:30
happens
to
if you
8.
do it
Wow.
early?
Well, they share a room, so if we do it earlier, it's like we hear stomping above, like they're having a party.
Having a party.
And there's this thing called Alexa. Oh. And so we put it up there so that they could listen to praise and worship music before they go to sleep. Well, now they have their own little music that they like that's like tailored specifically for kids. And so it's like a kid nightclub up there. Every night. They're doing trance music and house music. Like, man, I'm telling you, they're out there just partying it up.
Okay, so you guys have an Alexa in your kid's bedroom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have they made a purchase on it yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. Have you gone in and disabled the purchase feature for that specific Alexa?
You're
just-
having us
I
think
just took
now, so we might need
We'll
to
be
do
doing
that.
that after the show.
So here's why. So Amazon, we just found out that someone had bought an Amazon Music Unlimited subscription.
Oh wow.
Oh no.
And then I'm sitting here going, I didn't do it. Amber goes, well, she didn't do it. So we're thinking that maybe Alexa told one of the kids, like, to hear this song, you need to purchase this. And
you just
sure
say
enough,
yes.
one of the girls said yes. We've been paying for it for a year now.
Oh my goodness.
That's hilarious.
And we
Oh my
we didn't even realize it till Amber started. So Amber is going into her 1%. She's very detailed, very money, very numbers, with an accounting background, and she's now going in and she's like, "What's this transaction? What's this transaction?" And I was like, "What's this?" She goes, "I don't know. We've been paying for it for a year. Did you do this?" No.
Alexa's a bad influence.
Spending money.
That's so funny.
All right, let's talk about this. So the next topic is talking about love. Love.
Yeah. I mean, if you're married, hopefully there's a lot of love in your marriage. I hope so.
I like how it's hopeful.
No, I mean, look, there's a lot of people who stay together for all the wrong reasons, and there's a lot of people who get together for the wrong reasons too. So,
Dirty business.
yeah. Dirty business, hashtag dirty business. But our love story is kind of unique in a sense. I've met couples who, have the once upon a time and live happily ever after, right? Crystal and story isn't so happily ever after, and it isn't so once upon a time either. We both came from prior marriages, so we were both divorced, and that can bring its own dynamic into a relationship. But yeah, we met under interesting circumstances. I'll let Crystal tell that story.
You can start.
Of course.
No. Hold on. Interesting circumstances. Crystal, how did y'all meet?
So I was promoting his, there was an event and he was part of that event. And my ex and I we were just on good terms. And so he had asked me if I can help share the flyers. At that time, I had no idea who David was. David. And
David.
So, yeah, I shared the flyers and then someone said, "Oh, I didn't know you knew him." And I'm just like, I don't. I'm just inviting, you know? And so I guess that's when she got connected with David and mentioned to...
Yeah, so
who's this mysterious person?
Yeah, so it was a mutual friend. And what's crazy is you guys will meet everyone in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime.
I like that.
I love that
never
statement.
knew why I met her because I only met her one time.
This mutual friend.
This mutual friend. One time, one church service in the 9th grade, one time. And she ended up introducing me to Crystal. And that's how they worked together where Crystal was working at. They were co-workers. Saw the flyer and was like, "Oh, hey, I know that guy." I asked her, "Hey, how do you know him?" And then she calls me and goes, "Hey, I heard about your music." And I was like, I've never talked to you. Like, how did you hear about my music? And when I asked her, she goes, "Oh, it's this girl named Crystal." But before that, I had seen Crystal at my aunt's church. She was a pastor of a church, and I had gone there. And I remember looking at her thinking, "Dang, what's that girl right there? Oh my gosh, she's so cute," you know, but just never approached her because I thought she was taken. I thought she was affiliated with this guy who I didn't know was her ex. But I just didn't want to tread
Affiliated.
Yeah, I didn't want to tread on that. And so when I saw her, I looked her up on Facebook, and when I saw her, I was like, "Oh my God, that's that girl." And I slid in those DMs real quick. I slid right up in that DM and was like, "Hey, how you doing? Thank you for supporting." And then we started talking. There. So.
I think the best part of our beginning was we were on our own pursuit and journey for God. We were, I went through a divorce. And so I was just like invested and just constantly in church and stuff. But the best part about that was I wasn't searching for a man. But I did give God a list of what I wanted and in a man, and he gave me that plus more, I feel. But it almost it's like it landed in my lap, without looking. But when I tried to look out there, it was just, no.
Clowns.
A bunch of scrubs.
Well, but I like that, right? So one, Crystal, you made a list. Like you were like, "Here's what I want."
You know what's
right?
funny? You're not the first person, like, I feel like in the week that has said, "I made a list."
I
and
made a
God
list.
gave me that list and more.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Habakkuk, man, it says, write the vision and make it plain. A lot of times we just go with whoever looks good, but we have no idea if those looks match their personality.
That's
good.
funny because I had a similar story. Like, I wrote a list when I was in college and I wasn't looking. I was serving in church, just growing, doing what God wanted me to do. And then I met Dustin and now we're married.
Awesome.
Yep. At that time, that's actually how I knew that Crystal was special and that she was different, was because I was coming off of a really, really bad divorce. I mean, just think worst case scenario. It was pretty worst case scenario. And, in that process, I spent so much time with everything I didn't want that I knew what I was looking for even before I found it. I just didn't know that it was going to be personified through Crystal. And in our first conversation, I just knew that she was so different because she was so sure of herself, and it's like she had an answer for everything as far as her outlook in life, and that just absolutely attracted me to her. I was like, "Yeah, this one's different. This one's the diamond here." And so you had to lock that down pretty quick because she was on the market.
But that's important. She had answers.
Yeah.
She knew who she was. She had her list. She not Crystal. Not only did you know who you were, but you knew what the expectation was for the man that you were going to marry next, right?
Oh,
you,
yeah.
you, oh yeah. You know, and you were already having those conversations, and your focus was not, I need a guy, I need a guy, I need a guy. The focus was, I'm going to go where God wants me to go, and when God's ready, He's going to bring a man to my side, right? And then we're going to move forward together.
I think that's
so
a
important.
huge mindset that a lot of people want but don't know how to have.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
that is a, and I'm not going to belittle it. I'm not going to belittle this. That's not just a choice. Those are steps. And Crystal, if I'm taking words out of your mouth and you're like, Nick, I need you to be quiet. Let me talk. You just tell me to be quiet, okay? What I'm hearing through this is Crystal put steps together. She took steps forward. She made a plan, and then she said, God, here's my plan. Now I'm going to go serve, and when you're ready, you're going to deliver.
Absolutely.
Okay.
For sure.
So
I'm originally from San Antonio. So when I arrived in Lawton, Oklahoma, because that's where we met, it was just like in the middle of nowhere. I hated it. I didn't like it. I always wondered why I was there. So when I met him, I was in the process of contemplating whether I'm going to stay or go back because I had nothing to stay for. I didn't have family. You know, I just went through a divorce. And so as I'm getting ready to possibly move back, mind you, in the middle of nowhere, that's where the blessing came. And so I stick with that because it's like sometimes I have to remind myself when I'm uncomfortable, I'm being stretched. And yeah, that was a lot of discomfort there. But from that came the biggest blessing I could have ever received.
So hold on. How did you go from San Antonio? I know where Lawton, Oklahoma is. I know where that is.
Oh yeah, you blink and you'll miss it.
So how did you arrive in such a small town? Is that even a town?
It's a toe.
It's a town. How did you arrive there?
Okay, so that's where I attempted to fix and work on my previous marriage. Unfortunately, it did not work out at all. So I stayed.
So he was in the military. He was
Okay.
a military guy. Yeah.
That is military town.
That is military town.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I had a full-time job and everything, had my car. I had everything going on there, but I didn't have family, and I knew that it was about time that I either go back or figure out what I was going to do if Lawton was a place for me, which at that time I was like, no. Yeah, and then, I met David.
Yeah. One of the things that I do want to just add on to your story for the viewers really is if you do not learn how to embrace being alone, you will never appreciate being with someone. And that was where her and I were both at, because at that moment I was also living by myself. I was a single dad with my oldest daughter, and I was living alone. It was just me and her and against the world. So at the time that I met Crystal, we both were okay with being alone. And it just highlighted it. And she was more of a complement to solitude than she was a need for a feeling of a void.
Fulfillment. Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't.
A lot of times people they have a hard time being alone because they don't like that feeling. Well, guess what? You've got to learn how to love yourself alone before you can ever expect anyone to love you together. So yeah, I just wanted to add to that story as well.
So and that's I mean, if you're watching, you're like, man, so many great points. You can't hop into a relationship if you're not comfortable, if you're not confident within yourself. And the only way you can do that is by being alone, right? Now, I'm not saying like you have to go like lock yourself in a box somewhere or lock yourself in a room and figure that out. But what I am saying is you have to be confident within yourself before you can actually go and love someone else.
Yeah, you got to know who you are, and you got to know what you bring to the table. And so when I had that conversation with Crystal from the very beginning, I knew what she brought to the table because she knew what she brought to the table. She knew who she was. And so I was able to tell her, well, hey, this is who I am. And that's how you really find if the pretty face matches the pretty heart.
Right.
'Cause some of the most prettiest faces have the ugliest hearts. And so, yeah.
You guys were talking, I had a vision in my head of like, when you get married, you become one.
Yeah.
So if your heart has all these holes in it, you can't expect this other person to come in and fill those holes because you're still going to have half your heart. Half of your heart is going to connect to half of their heart. And if you're bringing in holes, they're still going to be there with or without that person.
Yeah. If
So-
you've got a holy heart, then your love will leak, but so will your problems. So will your baggage.
Wow.
So will your issues.
Right?
Wow.
Right. And we're not saying you have to be perfect before you get into a marriage or a relationship.
Yeah.
Oh no, my heart's cracked. We got cracks. That's how we let our
Right?
love shine.
Right.
It shines through.
But there comes a point where you take ownership of that and go, we're going to work on myself to make myself better. And when God is ready, he will bring the right person into my life so then we can do life together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, the other interesting dynamic of our love story is that I had a child. I had a child. And so when Crystal said yes to me, she said not just yes to a relationship, she said yes to motherhood immediately. So no warm up, no 9-month, no classes, just
Getting
straight up
ready,
yes.
like
Yeah, and she was 3 years old at the time, so she had already missed out on like the little cute stages and stuff like that. And she was able
potty
to
training. Was she potty trained?
Yeah, she
You got
was.
to potty. Okay.
She was potty trained beforehand and everything. And,
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, when? I would say that's a win.
Yeah. But she stepped in. She stepped in immediately. And that was I think it was part of the solidification for me emotionally and spiritually, where I was like, man, watching her be a mom literally overnight, it kind of solidified that this was a special person. So
How was that, Crystal?
It was very interesting, being that I was never, the mother before, so having to dive in. But I've always loved kids, so it was kind of easy for me.
Natural.
Yeah, but I will say it was a bit rocky at the beginning, simply because in my walk with God, it was just God, church, Bible studies, just all of that. But then when I met him, we fell in love. And then, mind you, as mentioned before, it was either stay or go back home. And so during that transition, David was like, hey, why don't you move in? And obviously that's kind of like out of line with what we were supposed to do versus wait, until we got married and then move in. And so when I stepped out of line and moved in with David, that's where it kind of got a little rocky. And of course, then comes the consequences when you're just not
doing things your way
when I'm doing things my way
instead of God's way.
instead of God's way.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I asked her to move in because she was still living with her ex. And there's no way you about to spend all this time with me, and I got to go send you to your ex. I'm Puerto Rican. I get jealous about stuff like that. So I was like, nah, we're not going to do that. But it was, hey, she's either going to go back to San Antonio. We're going to do this long distance, or I'm living in this 3-bedroom house and it's just me and my kid. Why don't you just come and stay with me? So I'm not encouraging that in any way, shape, or form to any of the listeners out there. I will be the first to say that we were out of line and out of pocket, and we were out of God's way of doing things. And we paid some pretty dear consequences. A lot of our struggles early on in our relationship was because we were out of line and we were out of pocket. And but we made it right. We decided to get married, and we decided to actually make it right. And it was when we got into covenant that the promises of God really, shine through in our relationship, and we were able to overcome a lot of our obstacles that way.
It's interesting because you've heard this now twice. If you go listen to Brad and Heidi's story from yesterday, they talk about how getting into the right relationship with each other and the right relationship with God, how that's what started the blessings. And there was rockiness when they were like, hey, I think we're gonna try this our way.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And what's interesting, and if you're not a believer, listen to this, okay? I guarantee you guys can probably, maybe not down to the day, but down to the month, you can see it. This is where we went. This is where we got out of alignment. This is where things got rocky. And when we got back into alignment, within 30 days, everything started working correctly again.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's something you don't even realize sometimes in the moment. But when you look back, you're like, ooh, that's when that happened.
Yeah.
For sure.
I can say that we had this meeting one time. We were looking at a business opportunity, And Crystal and I have been together now for, I want to say like a year and a half or something like that. And like everybody had already asked me like, oh, are you guys going to get married? Are you guys going to get married? But it was all the wrong people asking us if we were going to get married. It was the people,
interesting.
Yeah. And what I mean by that is it was people who were never really for us, but they were just people who wanted us to, well, you're not right in the eyes of God. It was the finger pointers. It wasn't the open arms.
The judgers.
Yeah, it was the finger pointers. It wasn't the people that were like, hey, I support you guys. You know, it wasn't that. They just wanted us to get it right in the eyes of the Lord. Well, that's why I got married the first time. I wasn't sure that the person I wanted to be with was the right person for me, but I wanted to be right in the eyes of the Lord, and so I got married. And obviously that ended in divorce, so I wasn't going to let anybody dictate the terms of how her and I were going to get married. But what was funny is that in this conversation, again, reason, season, lifetime, we don't even talk to this guy. We only went to that house one time, and in that one time, he dropped the gem that ultimately made me drop to my knee and say, hey, let's get married. And he said, she's never going to feel secure in your relationship until you lock it down and until you actually marry her. And I looked at her like, that's a lie. And I looked at her and she just kind of shook her head like, and I was like, all right, I know what I got to do.
There you go.
You want to get married? Then let's get married. And we went ahead and did that thing, man. And yeah, here we are 10 years later together.
So here, did you hear that? She didn't say it. She didn't throw a temper tantrum. No, because I mean, you see this on TV, right? Yeah. You see this. No, she just did a gentle head nod, and you saw it, and you were like, I got it.
But it takes two. Like, he had to be listening and watching for that to be able to understand that that's what she was, quote unquote, not saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
They both had to be intentional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, if you've watched this episode, you could tell who the voices are in the relationships, right? Like, it's not. So yes, that little head nod when Amber, who's more like you, Crystal, she's a bit more quiet, right? We have to be intentional about that. When you're an extrovert and you're a visionary, you have to be intentional about the introverts and about the, oh my goodness, integrators that are in your life. Yeah. Because if you're not paying attention, you're going to miss something. What had happened? What would have happened? Let's go down with a what if, Marvel what if scenario. Ready?
Why are you what ifing?
No,
why?
because we I'm almost there. I'm almost there. You ready? What if he had missed that? What if he wasn't intentional? What if he missed that head nod?
Then God would have had something better for her because he obviously wasn't it.
No. Lindsay. Bad Lindsay. Lindsay be mean. Okay? But
she's
what
agreeing
if?
with me. Did you see that head nod?
Yeah.
But where they would not be here right now, right?
Yeah.
We would not have this relationship with David right now. Okay? There's a lot that would have gotten out of sync or gone a different direction that would not, where both David and Crystal would not be blessing the people and leading families within Elevate.
You know, there's something I want to say to that because, you know, there's a lot of, so in our families, we're the only ones that are married. And I'm talking about my dad, my mom, her dad, sisters, brothers. We are the only couple that's married in our entire families. Number two, those people tend to look at us sometimes and say, man, I wish I had what you had. And I always tell Crystal, no, you don't. Because what it took for us to have what we have was a lot of blood, sweat, tears, pain, turmoil, chaos. It was a really, really unorthodox road. We didn't get to walk down the Wizard of Oz on the yellow brick road. Like, we went through trials and tribulations. It was rocky. It was bumpy. It was uncomfortable. At times, even it was unsafe. But we made a conscious choice and decision to continue to put God first and then persevere through that. So for all the people out there that think you can have a marriage or a relationship without God at the center, I'm telling you, it's like trying to join something without glue. You need that glue in order to keep you guys together.
There you go.
I think it's funny that you use the yellow brick road because Dorothy didn't just like magically appear at the Green City. She faced a lion.
Yeah.
She like got
the Wicked Witch of the West.
The Wicked Witch showed up. Like every road is full of those kind of obstacles. You have to have the strength and the courage
and the heart.
And and the oil and all that.
You can't be scared. You can't be scared. You've got to actually go through it. But
You can be scared, but you can't let that fear lock you in place. You
Right.
have to keep moving forward. And on that yellow brick road, she kept taking those steps forward to get to her destination. And I think people are like, oh, well, my fairy tale isn't happening, or my road looks different. So what?
Or some people
You
think
have
that when they
to-
climb the mountain and they get to the top, that's where it ends. But when you get to the top of the mountain, you have another mountain to climb. Relationships are a
Or you have
process.
another valley to go through.
That too.
Like, it's not
That
peak
too.
to peak. It's
Peaks
mountains.
and valleys.
peaks and valleys. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? Stop it.
Yeah.
Nick, stop it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Crystal, what has been the best date that you've ever been on with David?
Yeah, way to preface that. With David.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a hard one because I love food, and so anything that involves food is like the best to me.
Okay, what type of food?
I would say hibachi.
Ooh.
So
Yeah.
Do you guys have a favorite spot?
I think it would be our first date. So it'd be Kobe's, I believe
Yeah.
it was.
Kobe Steakhouse. Yep, right over there in good old Lawton, Oklahoma. That was,
Yeah?
Yep. That was the very first date I ever took her on, and it was I don't know, man. It was I think it was such a memorable first date because one, we had fun.
Yes.
It was very fun. But two, I think it was kind of like our coming out party. It was we're a couple and we're going to let everyone know about it. We had kept our relationship a little on the down low when we first got together because we knew that in the church it was going to get messy.
It's a small town. Everyone knows everyone.
It's messy in church? Yes, it was going to get messy in church. We knew that. And but that was the day that I think we were like, nah, we're together and we're going to let everybody know about it. So, yeah.
Hibachi. I am
What?
so
That was-
hungry right now.
Yeah. Yeah. My favorite date with her actually wasn't really a date. We just on a whim went to Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Just on a whim. We just went to
one too.
Chicago. Yeah, they had like this super duper like last minute deal buster kind of deal. And I was like, hey, you want to go to Chicago? And she was like, yeah. And we ended up literally going to Chicago. And without really an itinerary or a plan, we would just kind of be like, you want to go do this? Yep. Okay, let's go do it. And man, we just really enjoyed that time together. It was a really good time. I had to stay in a hotel. Got to go see the Cirque du Soleil. We got to see just all the great things that that you go for that you go to Chicago for. But that was our first time having deep dish pizza.
Oh, there you
authentic
go,
deep dish
doing it
pizza.
right.
Yeah, got to go to a Cubs game. Like it was a really really memorable time, and it was we maximized that time. It was great.
So, how did y'all get to Elevate Life? Oh, that's a great question.
From Lawton to Chicago, back.
Yeah, that's
To
great
Frisco
question.
to Elevate Life. Like, go ahead.
So while living in North Carolina, David was blessed with a promotion. And so that's how he got to move to Dallas. And then we came afterward. I was devastated because I had family of choice in North Carolina. I've never heard that term before. And so I didn't want to leave, really. So sad.
I had a very close relationship with my pastor.
Yes.
We were very close, and I cried leaving because I was like, man, this is like my spiritual father. He was such an integral part of me, like finding God and really leading my family. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was absolutely important for me too, because he is the head of the house. And so being that he was so connected, and I was just like, I don't know if we're going to have that in Dallas. And then on his way here, he hit a deer, had an accident. And I'm like, yeah,
Two
that's
accidents,
probably
back to
not
back.
the place.
Those are the signs. Those
Back
are the
to back.
signs. You got to turn around. No,
yeah,
no, you got to keep going
Yeah,
because there's
yeah.
something greater.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I just like the spies, I'm like, oh, nope, looks bad over there, Don't think that's the place for us. But we carried on, including trying to get a house. That was crazy in itself.
Oh yeah.
So once we got here, we found a church, a Spanish church in Garland, Texas. And but then I found out I was pregnant. So the morning sickness was just crazy. It was like an all-time high. And so we found out about Elevate Life during the Easter
Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, Easter egg hunt. So I brought the girls because we wanted to do something that was family oriented. We didn't have any family in the area, so we went. We really loved it, had fun. But David was still like, no, this is a mega church, not for me. So I actually ended up having, like I said, morning sickness, and I was like, I can't do an hour drive to Garland. Like, it's tough, it's challenging. So going to and from. Yeah. And so he was like, well, he had business meetings out of town. And so I would take advantage and go Sundays by myself to Elevate. And I would take the girls, and the girls were like, oh my gosh, we really love it. Which church are we going to this Sunday? Garland. Oh man. Okay. We'll go.
Yeah. So what's funny about that story is that in North Carolina, I was fed spiritually in abundance. And so when I came here, I wanted to find a church that I could be fed at in abundance. Well, Crystal does not speak Spanish. So she's going to a Spanish church, and I'm having to do the translating. And so I was trying to make it more engaging for the girls and for the family. And we would go to their English services, but their English services were nowhere near as powerful and impactful as the Spanish. Like, you could just tell he operated in his highest and best self in Spanish. And so my girl started to complain about going to church. I don't want to go to the Spanish church. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. And it was like God was using those moments where she was going by herself and she was promoting the church. And, I really like the church, and I like the pastor, and I like the message, and the girls love it. And I actually started to see that. My girls would get so excited when on Sunday morning when they would be like, are we going to go to the English church or the Spanish church? And if it was a Spanish church, they were just dejected immediately.
They would just,
yes.
Yep.
But if they were like, are we going to the English church? It was, complete opposite. They were just at this high, like, yes, I can't wait to go. And it was like God was using that to show me, like, you can't just be selfish about God. You've got to let me feed your family as well. And so at that moment, yes, she was obviously having the morning sickness. I was like, all right, I gotta put myself in the wayside. I've been able to be a beneficiary of our last church, which is a smaller church. I've got to at least let my wife lead in this direction and follow her in that regard. So, guys, you can't be afraid to follow your wives, man. Sometimes she'll lead you to the destination of the promised land, and you'll be headed somewhere else. And so I kind of let that go. I was like, all right, cool. What was the great part about that was when we went to church for the Easter egg hunt, we posted a picture. I don't post pictures when I go to Easter egg hunts, but I decided to post a picture to kind of commemorate that because it was our first month here together as a family. I had just spent the whole month by myself. And so we commemorated that moment, and I tagged Elevate Life Church, which I never do either. Never. But I happened to tag it, and all of my Spanish leader friends that I love and respect were all goo goo gaga over Pastor Keith and Pastor Sheila and Pastor Josh, and just really hyped the church up. So it was all kind of a lot of like alignments, a lot of puzzle pieces that kind of put themselves together, where I was finally like, you know what, I'm just going to go to this church and just see what happens. And we all see how that goes.
right?
So yeah, I was anti mega church, anti all of that, but that was just because of my upbringing. And sometimes God's got to get you through it in order for you to be able to elevate. And that's so fitting that was the name of the church, was Elevate Life. So, yeah.
Oh, I firmly believe that Pastor Keith, when he changed the name of the church to Elevate Life, there was a reason behind it.
Yeah.
That man is such a great...
There's a reason for everything.
Especially with him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like, you never have to go, oh, is this going to work out for everyone who's following Pastor Keith? Is this going to work out for all of his followers' benefit? Yes. Everything that man does benefits everyone who's like, I'm choosing to follow Pastor Keith.
Yeah.
And watch how alignments will happen. Watch how blessings will happen. And if you're a business owner, or if you're a W-2 employee, watch how your career starts to pivot and adjust.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Get in the room.
This has been a fabulous show. We need to end it on that because we are actually coming up on an hour.
Oh, wow.
That is, I love that look. That look, because Lindsay gave me the look like about 20 minutes ago. Like, are we going over again? Yes, we are. And here's the why. Y'all need this. I need this. Like, I just got to learn so much about both of you during this session. And here we go. Are you ready for this? Today, is it okay if I share this, Crystal?
Sure.
This has been a breakthrough for you.
Yeah.
Is this your first time on camera?
Absolutely.
So, so I mean, and not just on camera like Facebook, like on camera with a mic and a headset and the whole thing, right? With the people, and she did great.
Absolutely.
She did great.
Awesome.
So proud of you.
So,
Yes.
all right, I'm gonna pull y'all off a little bit. Let's talk. You and me talk. We're gonna talk for a minute, okay? It's Tuesday. Your Valentine's Day is over. Make sure you're getting your big 3 done this week, okay? If you have kids that are in school, this Friday and I believe Monday are some type of holiday. I don't even know what they are, but they're some type of holiday. Do you know what they are?
Monday is a bad weather day for our district. It's
President's
and they're celebrating, or maybe it's this Friday's a bad weather day. I don't know. My husband said Friday was the holiday, but that doesn't make sense. We always celebrate President's Days and stuff on Mondays. So.
Okay. All right. So
I don't
some
know.
type of holiday.
One of those
Just
two.
know that your kids are going to be off. And here we go, right? If you get done with your big 3 early, maybe take off Friday, spend that time with your family. Invest some time into them. Okay. Maybe, and if you're like, Nick, well, I have my big 3, go talk to, but I really don't know about taking off Friday. Go talk to your supervisor, go talk to your manager, go talk to whoever you need to talk to and say, hey, I'm thinking about taking off Friday. I'm going to get done with whatever you need me to get done. Set that expectation because you're not going to get that time with your family back. You're not. And I'm not saying you have to like do a big blowout family thing. Take your kids to the park. Go to someplace like Urban Air.
So,
right?
My daughter, we were supposed to have some special mommy time the other night, and that didn't happen because life happens and, you got to be flexible. But I ended up taking her on a date this past weekend, just her and I. And it wasn't like anything huge. She's like, Mom, I want to get a plant for my window. I'm like, okay, let's go find you a plant for your window.
There you go.
And we went to the park. So, just doing what they want to do, just spend some time with them.
No, I like that. Doing what they want to do. Not always saying what you want to do, but doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
So going right back to where I put the camera back on myself, okay? Get your big 3 done. Get it done early. Spend some time Friday with your family, okay? We will be launching the big 3 group coming up. I want to say thank you to Crystal, and I'm going to say Kristen, Crystal and David. I'm going to put them on the screen real quick. Thank y'all for being our guest. Hopefully y'all had a great time here.
Absolutely. Always a great time with coffee and cookies.
So as you roll into today, make sure to bring your positive, make sure to bring your greatness. We're going to be hopping off camera to get our work done today. We're going to be definitely having in the comments the links for Dead Religion. If you notice the hoodie, hold on, wait. David, rock the hoodie.
Step to the side so they can see.
There
it
you
without
go.
the- there
That's
you go.
greatness. Crystal, you ready?
We actually had comments on
Ready? There
on
you go.
The fire apparel.
Oh, come on, man.
There we go,
Yeah.
right? And I didn't even know though. I didn't know there was a pink hoodie.
Yeah.
And, Crystal's rocking it over there.
Yeah, we just brought that out today.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Right? So bring your greatness, bring your positive, get your big 3 done. Know that you are needed. Wherever you're at, you're needed. Okay. Your family needs you. Your friends need you. This country needs you. Okay. We need the greatness. We need the positive. We need the power. And above all, I want you to
Rise up.
and crush it. Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.